uncertainty caused by his on again, off again, up again, down again tariffs has employers cutting back dramatically on their hiring. They created just 73,000 jobs in July. Even worse, the numbers for May and June were revised downward today sharply. Over 3 months, as the tariff wars escalated, the U.S. economy created only 106,000 jobs. The president himself created one job today at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He ordered the firing of the head of the agency behind the bad jobs report, which also includes the unemployment rate ticking up to 4.2%. He accused Erica McIntyre, without evidence, of cooking the books to help Kamala Harris before the election and to hurt him now.
Before the numbers that came out, I said, who is the person that does these numbers? And then they gave me stats about before the election. I had a similar problem. I mean, she gave out numbers that were so good for the Democrats. It was like unbelievable.
Ed O'Keefe is at the White House, but we begin right here with CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady. Kelly, you talked to one of the consumers of these numbers today.
I did. So the Federal Reserve looks at the job and making decisions about interest rates. Today we interviewed Beth Hammack, President and CEO of the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland. She's one of the people in the room for those decisions.
Many business owners over the last 6 months have paused hiring because of tariff uncertainty. That contributed to the weaker than expected jobs report.
When you look at the employment picture, May, June, and July, we added less than 100,000 jobs each. It may be. It's an emerging trend. It's something we should be watching.
Beth says the economy is healthy on paper, just not for.
We definitely hear about a two-speed economy. The top part of the income spectrum is doing incredibly well. At the bottom end of the spectrum, I hear individuals trade. They go to the supermarket and they can't buy ground beef. They're buying hot dogs. Are you worried about that growing inequality? What I'm focused on is making sure that we have an economy that's working for all Americans. Inflation has been above our target for 4.5 years. And with the tariffs that are coming in, it may be likely that those prices continue to rise.
The Fed decided on Wednesday interest rates unchanged because of persistent inflation. That was before this morning's challenging jobs report. The economy added 73,000 jobs last month, which was fewer than expected. May and June were revised downward by over 250,000.
I feel confident in the decision that we made at this most recent meeting. What happens if you... That could mean that more people are losing their jobs than we'd like to see.
While the Federal Reserve is meant to be apolitical, President Trump has repeatedly pressured the chairman rates.
The Federal Reserve acts traditionally and is supposed to be independent from the White House. How is that independence? Monetary independence allows me to help set monetary policy in a way that we can support stable price.
Kelly, the Fed is such a mystery. It's great to hear on inside the Fed. Now let's talk about another government institution, Bureau of Labor Statistics. Normally we never talk about them when a jobs report comes out. The president wants to talk about the person totaling up the numbers. Why?
Yeah, so he does not trust these numbers. And I will note, context-wise, historically, markets, business leaders, financial institutions, they have looked at this institution that has been doing this for decades and trusted these. Now, he's taking issues with the revisions we mentioned. Revisions happen. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, they get more information over time and they go back and they say, hey, well, actually, that was higher, this was lower. This was larger than normal of a revision.
Economists look at these jobs numbers and say, well, they're lower because are uncertain about tariffs. Remind us where we are in the tariffs story.
So we've got trade frameworks or deals with a number of our biggest trading partners, including the EU, but the biggest outstanding ones, China, Canada, and Mexico, we're all waiting for those three.
When these kick in on the 7th of August, who's going to pay?
Three possibilities. The companies in the countries that are sending goods to the U.S., they might lower their prices. The American companies that are buying those goods, they might absorb some of that cost, and they've been doing that, but they can't do that for much longer probably, which means you and me might pay more, and the Yale Budget Lab said that that could go to the tune of $2,400 per household this year.
Kelly O'Grady, thanks so much, Kelly. Now to Ed O'Keefe. He went to the southern side of the U.S.-Canada border to see the impact of the tariffs there.
Resurgence Brewing Company in Buffalo, New York sits just 4 miles from where has long Canadians crossing over to quench their thirst. But an anti-American boycott north of the border, sparked by the ongoing trade war, means business is drying up.
Probably 15 to 25% down year over year based on the lack of Canadian traffic.
Which is a huge hit.
Huge.
Tapping into Buffalo's history as a beer brewing mecca during the age, Ware wants to lead a local resurgence.
How did it or affect?
This is just another weight on our shoulders that we have to bear.
About an hour away,
So this one was born about 30 minutes ago.
Jack Clapper is a seventh-generation farmer with more than 5,000 cows, pumping out 13,000 gallons of milk a day.
Definitely have seen some rising costs, and
As he tries to expand, Clapper's dealing with rising costs of Canadian lumber and steel, slapped with higher tariffs. But beyond Canada, Clapper sees shoots of optimism, thanks to President Trump's new trade agreement with the European Union.
I feel like as a dairy farmer, we kind of won. EU products are now being slapped with a 15% tariff fee coming into the United States.
Now he wants Trump to do more.
We can't ship certain cheeses into Europe because of the name of the cheese. So if we were making Parmesan cheese or feta cheese, we're not allowed to ship that into Europe. But it seems like when there's butter that wants to be imported into the United States from Europe, it's, it's a open door for them.
On the farm and in the tap room, both business owners just want Trump's tariff war to end.
Let's come up with a good plan that might take a while to implement, but everybody knows the plan.
Ed O'Keefe joins us now from the White House. Ed, I was thinking about this trade negotiations. Just about dollars and cents or economic issues. The president said he's unhappy with the prime minister's decision to recognize a Palestinian state, and that a part of trade negotiations.
Yeah, what started off a trade dispute will be on disagreements over Middle East policy, but it's not just Canada. The president's also prolonging talks with Brazil. He's already slapped a 50% tariff on that country, in part because he's concerned with how the current government is prosecuting a former Brazilian president who's closely aligned with him. And today, the president was tight-lipped about how trade talks are going with South Korea and India. All of it a reminder that while this was designed to juice the economy in the eyes of the president, he's using this tariff war now to try to extract concessions to meet his personal and policy concerns. John?
Ed O'Keefe at the White House. Thank you, Ed.